It happened. It finally happened. We now know everything that we need to know about the giant router and the fridge. Team Green and Team Blue have finally put all their cards on the table, and they finally said to us, it's time to fight. Go argue all over the internet, put us down, stick up for us, hype our boxes, and above all else, give us your money. Next Gen is officially coming in November, and you now have a choice to make. Do you buy Games Pass and get a box with it, or do you buy a massive box full of promises for the future? Well, the answer to the great battle of 2020 and beyond could be nice and easy to answer for some, but for others, there's a decision that needs deep thought. One that needs close consideration, and one that could shape the next 6 or 7 years of their gaming lives. So all this said, I'm going to try and answer some of these questions and maybe even help you make a decision. So without further ado, this is Games to You. Boom, 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 ba-da-ba-dum. Ba-dum, ba-ba-boom. Ba-dum, bum, ba-da-ba-dum. Ba-dum, bum, ba-da-boom. So first out of the gate is Team Green, last year at the 2019 Game Awards, where they showed off a brand new Xbox Series X. It looked like a fridge. It was just a box. In fact, there was nothing particularly amazing about it, except, let's be honest, there's no way it's fitting on any person's entertainment center. The fridge comes with a disk drive, HDMI 2.1 slot, expandable memory, and everything you could want from a new console. But when they released the specs, everything changed. The Series X would have an AMD 8-core CPU based on the Zen 2 architecture running at 3.8 GHz, a custom RDNA 2 based GPU that'll create 12 teraflops, which really means nothing, by the way, and it'll also have 16 GB of GDDR6 RAM. These specs, when paired with a brand new proprietary SSD, means Microsoft's new console would be amongst the higher end of PCs, which is simply incredible. They weren't, of course, alone in bringing out a new console this year though, and over at Team Blue, Sony were planning something so daring, so out there, so technical.
There will be lots of chances later on this year to look at the PlayStation 5 games. Today, I want to talk a bit about our goals for the PlayStation 5 hardware and how they influenced the development of the console.
They didn't blow us away, but they did bore us to sleep. Mark Cerny, the king of PlayStation, came out with some fake cardboard cutouts in front of him and talked in depth about some really technical things the new PS5 could do. Oh yeah, this was of course after the huge reveal of the new logo, where they simply replaced the 4 with the 5 and paid someone a lot of money to do it. Back to the Cerny talk, and he spoke in depth about brand new 3D audio capabilities and ray tracing the new console could achieve, but it was the SSD that grabbed people's attention, right before they fell asleep again.
Pretty cool, right? But for me, this is not the primary reason to change from a hard drive to an SSD. The primary reason for an ultra-fast SSD is that it gives the game designer freedom.
This SSD had already been talked about in an exclusive interview with Wired, where Cerny showed Spider-Man loading instantly. This SSD isn't like your normal SSD, and with me not wanting to bore you to death, it's fast. In fact, it's faster than fast, and it's genuinely revolutionary. Still, we had no box to look at, so the ball was all so clearly in Team Green's court, and they had a big chance to claim a huge advantage. So on May the 7th, they held an Inside Xbox showcase, calling it the first look at the Xbox Series X, and a look into gameplay and what it looks like. The stage was set for us all to be blown away, with us even being promised that first look at Assassin's Creed Valhalla on Next Gen. What we ended up getting was Aaron Greenberg taking the mick out of the design of the Xbox Series X, calling it the world's most powerful fridge, with the box behind him as his fridge.
Hey everyone, this is Aaron Greenberg from Team Xbox. I'm excited to be coming to you here live from my kitchen. I'm drinking non-stop drinks out of the world's fastest, most powerful fridge. We're moments away from a huge Inside Xbox.
This first look at gameplay amounted to something like 1.5 minutes in total of actual gameplay across a 45-minute show, which was full of cinematic trailers and poor webcam footage of developers and people at Xbox. The COVID-19 pandemic was clearly something that affected the production value, and Microsoft had no idea how to get around it. Clearly, they'd never heard of a camera. After this huge miss, Sony came out with the big PS5 showcase where they hoped to blow us all away. They started the show with Spider-Man Miles Morales, showed off a new Ratchet & Clank which looked insane, and had a professional looking showcase which helped make Microsoft look even worse. Everything was great about this show and it felt like a proper event. Then we got the music, the slow, sexy music, as they showed us the box for the first time, and well, it looked like a router. There's no getting around it. This design was always going to divide people, and it has. I like it, but many don't. Oh, and to top it all off, they showed a digital version without a disk drive as well. This new console will come with an AMD 8-core Zen 2 processor which runs at 3.5 GHz, an RDNA 2 based GPU outputting 10.3 teraflops, 16 GB of GDDR6 RAM, and a custom 825 GB SSD. Yeah, this wasn't quite as powerful as the Xbox Series X, but the difference is really so small it won't make any difference. But we were still missing one huge thing. In fact, we're missing two things: price and date. Between these two companies, we're all about to become much poorer, but they refuse to tell us how much poorer and when. This game of chicken seemed to start, and no one wanted to jump first until Microsoft decided to have a first-party showcase in July. Gone was the webcams, and in was the studio quality interviews. Most importantly though was the gameplay. We started off by seeing a huge Halo Infinite demo, which, if we're being perfectly honest, looked really bad. State of Decay 3, which also shown alongside a new Forza game, and much more. We ended with a one more thing, which was Fable. This was amazing, but still no price at all and no date. Not to mention, a month later, Halo got an indefinite delay, meaning they had no big launch title. Sony remained silent, not even a squeak, as they bided their time for Microsoft to make the first move. Then the big leak happened, which forced Team Green to reveal the Xbox Series S on Twitter. The new console had the same CPU as the Series X, running slower, a GPU which outputs 4 teraflops, 10 GB of GDDR6 RAM, no disk drive, and a 512 GB SSD. The new console would run games at 1440p rather than 4K, and would run the Xbox One S enhanced Xbox One games rather than the Xbox One X enhanced games like the Xbox Series X. Yeah, it's really complicated, and Microsoft isn't good at naming their products at all. The next day we finally got a date and price. The Series X will be £449 and the Series S will be £249, and coming on November the 10th. This was an amazing announcement, and then they had the sucker punch to Sony as they announced you could get the Series X for £28.99 a month with Game Pass on a 24-month contract, and the Series S for £20.99 a month. Both had no upfront cost, and you own the console at the end, which is honestly crazy and amazing from Microsoft. So how did Team Blue react? By having another showcase, of course, and well, to put it simply, they blew every expectation out of the water. They started the show by announcing Final Fantasy XVI as a console exclusive, and then showing off some Miles Morales gameplay. Couldn't get any better, could it? Well, it did when they showed us a Harry Potter RPG that had leaked a couple of years ago, and it's called Hogwarts Legacy. The show didn't let up, with hit after hit before we got the price. £359 for the digital edition and £449 for the standard PS5, meaning they both matched and beat Microsoft with some really aggressive pricing, especially with the digital version. The console will come out on November the 12th in America and Japan, with the rest of us getting them on November the 19th. Everything was going well for Sony until about 2 hours after the show, when retailers started their pre-orders and chaos ensued. Everywhere was selling out within 5 minutes, and it was a battlefield on the internet. Currys here in the UK was true to form, as their website subsequently shit itself from the second pre-orders went live. Some people managed to get their day one edition, but many of us were left wanting, with nothing but hope that Sony would find more PS5s lying around in their big vault where they grow all their money. Did I mention that they announced God of War 2, by the way? Oh my god! God of War! Holy shit! God of War! God of War 2. So all in all, Microsoft have lost already. They can't catch Team Blue because they have nothing that can compete with what Sony is doing. Nothing like Spider-Man or Horizon or anything like that. If anything, I kind of feel sorry for them. Sony keeps kicking them whilst they're down and... Wait there. What's this? $7.5 billion. Wait, what? Microsoft, the first party who makes the Xbox and has Xbox Game Studios, has bought ZeniMax? The company that owns Bethesda? The studio that's given us Doom? Fallout? Skyrim, Oblivion, Prey, and many more epic, huge games? So this has just become like Dragon Ball Z, because just as someone's getting overpowered, a character pulls a new, more powerful form right out of their ass from nowhere. I'm not gonna lie here, this is industry-shaking news. This is a huge publisher that Microsoft's gone and bought here. This could end up meaning Starfield, The Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 aren't on the PS5. This has never really happened before. The first parties don't tend to go off buying publishers, yet Microsoft has gone and done that. From their point of view, they now have some of the biggest next-gen games all to themselves. And the PC, of course, as their games will come out on Game Pass. And this is honestly just a huge win. It means if you don't own a PC and you want to play the Skyrim sequel, you need an Xbox. If you want to play Fallout 5, you need an Xbox. This really can't be understated. From a personal point of view, for me, well, I have a PC and this just means the same company owns Obsidian, who made Fallout New Vegas, and Bethesda, who owns Fallout. Please, Microsoft, make Obsidian make Fallout New Vegas too. We need this. We really need this.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, but
Give the people what they want. Give the people what they want.
If Microsoft can give the studios the kind of money that Sony gives the likes of Sony Santa Monica and Naughty Dog, then we really could start seeing some special games here. And finally, Team Green has a first party worth shouting about. No longer will it just be Gears of War and Halo. No longer will it just be shooter franchises that are older than some players. They finally have something that can at least compete with Sony, or at least try to. Let's not forget God of War 2 and The Last of Us Part 3 that'll probably happen in a few years. Sony isn't down and out. In fact, they're stronger than ever going into this generation. The big difference here is that Microsoft finally could be coming in on a level footing with an actual chance. Now, let's not get crazy here. Microsoft doesn't care one little bit if they win the console wars that didn't exist anyway. They don't care if they sell 100 million Xboxes. They want you to get Game Pass. That's where they're looking at making their money. Sony wants to sell PS5s and then wants you to buy first-party games or digital games on their store. These are two very different approaches where neither team wins or loses. In fact, the only winners I see here are us, the gamers, and the players who get to enjoy these incredible games that these companies' deep, deep pockets will fund. So here's to the next generation. Here's to fast loading times and ray tracing. Here's to all of us forgetting just how well the Nintendo Switch is doing. And here's to the 4 people who are hopelessly still playing games on Stadia. I'll see you next time.